All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Grow Nebraska webinar. We're so thankful to have you tuning in live. And to those of you watching the recording, we missed you, but we're excited you're watching at your own time. Today's topic is digital marketing insurgency, the rise of smart marketing protocols and AI. So let's go ahead and get started. As always, thank you to Center for Real Affairs for being a sponsor of the Grow Nebraska Foundation. Of course, without our awesome sponsors, our presenters, our viewers, and our Grow Nebraska members, none of this would be possible. So be sure to visit cfra.org for more information. Our featured sponsor for the month of September is United Methodist Foundation. Our featured member is Small Town Famous, and they joined Grow Nebraska in 2018. And they actually have a retail store in Hastings, Nebraska. So if you're in that area, I highly recommend you go check it out. They have apparel, coffee stuff, you name it, they probably have it. And they were featured in our Nebraska State Fair booth. So if you're needing Nebraska apparel, they are your go-to. And this week's presenter is Troy, and I'm not going to try to say your last name because I don't want to butcher it. So I'll let you do that part. But thank you, Troy, for being here today to present and feed us some knowledge. And if you have any questions, be sure to pop them in the chat or the Q&A section, and he will answer them as he goes. So I'll go ahead and stop my screen share and pass it over to you.
Well, thank you all. Thank you, Zoe. Thank you, Grow Nebraska, for having me. I am excited to talk on this subject as I pull in everything for you all to experience. So let's talk about digital marketing insurgency, the rise of smart marketing protocols, and hopefully everyone can hear me okay. One thing before I get started, I want to make it clear that we are in a scenario where things are changing and evolving incredibly quickly. And it can feel intimidating, it can feel overwhelming. You may not know which way to do, which way to go. And I think this presentation may help guide you on some initiatives and directions and tactics that can help you discern which ways to move as things are emerging. So, to get right to the point, audiences are smarter. Technology has changed and the rules have shifted. So, as a business owner, as a marketer, as an executive leader, whether you're in customer service or anything in between, a solopreneur, everything else, you have to acknowledge these three things. And that maybe what would have worked in years past, even dare I say, at the beginning of this year, may slowly become more and more irrelevant. And we have to adapt and optimize and adjust accordingly. Now, one of the biggest buzzwords that has been going around and has been growing even more is AI, artificial intelligence. Now, I will be very upfront with all of you who are listening and watching right currently live or in the replay. I will not be talking about ChatGPT. I understand it is a thing, and it is what many people have seen and have noted to associate with this new era of generative or predictive AI algorithms, all the different things that come and are encompassing. But there's so much more beyond ChatGPT, and I'll even dive in deeper. You've already integrated and navigated AI way before ChatGPT came about into its big prominence as it is now. But between ChatGPT and all the AI things and the adjustments to social media marketing and the algorithms and everything else, let's be honest. Sometimes we can feel like this. As a business owner, as a social media marketer, you're just like, I'm just trying my level best to just navigate through all of these changes. I can feel the same way. I empathize, I understand, but we're going to figure this out together. Last year, only 17% of marketers thought traditional marketing was the most effective, compared to 83% who favored new digital marketing. Now, the question is digital marketing still effective? Is it still impactful? Does it look differently than what it was before? So let's navigate some of that. The hard truth, the reality. We have to understand the utility of AI, of where digital marketing is going, And how do we adjust to what we need to do as organizations, as business leaders, as marketers to navigate accordingly? The numbers state that 64% of marketers don't have enough resources, full stop. 51% said they don't have enough budget. 39% say they don't have enough personnel. And 34% say they don't have enough time. If that resonates, feel free to raise your hand, put a thumbs up in the chat if you feel in any way, shape, or form this aligns. But obviously, you can say it quietly to yourself. Nevertheless, these are the numbers. These are the hard truth that we are still expected to achieve growth and success and drive new customers and handle good customer service, even though we may be underwhelmed. So if we think about the present, many people are optimistic, thinking that 97% believe that investing in AI will decrease operation costs, 95% believe AI integration will boost team productivity, and 92% believe AI tools can reduce time on task. So one thing to think about as we navigate this presentation and we're thinking about the digital marketing insurgency, when you're confronting against challenges, these are what does this create as an opportunity? In most cases, we're navigating a tight budget, maybe not enough staff or team members, and we need more tools. But if we can find an optimal way to make more of what we need to achieve our goals, our KPIs as we're entering quarter four, we're thinking about the following year as well, through optimization of how we operate, it will make things so much more easier. Now, AI is projected to drive $15.7 trillion in global economic value by 2030. Let's sit there for a minute. I'm sharing this because many times people throw these big numbers around, if I could be honest, if I could be real. But what does that mean to me, Troy? What does that mean to me? That tells me that someone's seeing something, there's an opportunity there, but what about me? And we're going to get to that to a point. But I always like to zoom out to show the bigger picture and then zoom in and seeing what we can do in our own markets to navigate accordingly. So to add to that, voice-based searches, 50% of all searches are projected to be voice-based by 2025, which makes me question how we optimize our website with our SEO and everything might be different moving forward if now they're not Googling, they're asking, hey, Google, hey, Alexa, hey, Siri, blah, 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 blah. And we're just trying to navigate all those things that Siri tries to answer my question. But the same thing, think about chatbots integration. 80% of businesses are expected to integrate chatbots by 2025. And AR and VR, global spending on both, expected to reach $72.8 billion by 2024. So clearly, something is happening. There is a change, there's a shift in the winds and the sails. And then we need to understand how are we going to navigate for our businesses, for our operations, for our marketing and strategies. So, rhetorical question. How much did you spend on digital marketing this past year? Or dare I even say, how much are you spending currently on digital marketing now? If we look at between PPC and email marketing, paid media, all those different subset of things, where does it fall in? Do you feel is optimal? Do you feel that the investment that you're putting in digital marketing as of now is reaping the results that maybe it was or wasn't in past years? If we cross-reference 2020 or pre-COVID era of digital marketing efforts and energy to maybe your KPIs and outcomes, does it align now? Many people are speaking and saying in the marketplace that I'm seeing a decline. Things aren't converting as quickly, it's costly. I don't know. Should I continue doing what I'm doing? Should I shift? There's a lot of different social media players, a lot of different new additional tools in play. How do I get attention? How do I maintain relationships? It is a lot for all of us to navigate as of right now. And 92% of businesses say they have decreased costs due to AI integration. And 82% of AI adopters agree integrating AI is helping their company accelerate revenue growth goals. So again, I said at the beginning, my goal is not to talk about ChatGPT. My goal through smart marketing protocols is to explain the utility, to see, zooming out, here's where we are. Here's the situation. We're juggling costs, time, and productivity. how do we maximize what we have by maybe integrating some AI or smart marketing protocols or more efficient, optimal strategies and tactics to help us navigate this new season, this new era. We don't want to be resistant to it. We want to embrace the flow and adjust accordingly to what we're trying to actually do. So, history lesson. If you're a person who loves patterns, then you'll appreciate this. Let's just go back in time just a little bit. Mail, 1971. Radio, FM surpasses AM in 1978. Color TVs were normalized only in 1995. So any 90s babies here, you understand. The dot-com boom, 1995 to 2001. What I deem as the social golden era, 2004 to 2018, that includes the golden era of YouTube, Vine back in the day, all of that, where you would just post anything and just had massive ROI and engagement. And now we're here, the digital marketing insurgency, where everything's not as clear. There's a lot of gray area. We're trying to navigate, what do we do now? It's not as straightforward. But if we look at the pattern of history, if you look back at it now, well, it seems there was a time that people thought, well, I don't need a website. There was a time that businesses thought, well, I don't want to use Instagram. Back in 2012, Instagram was seen as just what teenagers use. And now, 2023, most businesses have an Instagram account. You can almost parallel that with TikTok, even in the same caliber. But now in digital marketing insurgency, we're seeing the AI, we're seeing all these different tools, and it's overwhelming. And we, instead of being resistance to the change, which I'm a person who likes to reiterate over and over again so it can distill and stay in the mind, top of mind, we need to embrace it. So it's time to activate smart marketing protocols. Smart marketing protocols are a set of best practices, methodologies, and technologies designed to optimize resources, maximize impact, and drive growth in the digital marketing landscape. That's what smart marketing protocols are all about. But the benefit of smart marketing protocols can be divvied up into 4 key things: unifying systems to increase efficiencies, optimizing business workflows to save time and energy, scaling marketing ops, which you also can apply to growth ops, rev ops, sales ops as well, while staying under budget, and then eliminating manual repeatable tasks to increase productivity. Now, if we remember, we go back to the numbers before where people were saying, acknowledging, I either don't have enough time, I don't have enough personnel, or I don't have enough money. And so the correlation between those 3 things is, how do we maximize what we have? Well, if we integrate smart marketing protocols and go through the line of item sheet, recalibrate with your teams, look at your business operations, saying, where are areas we can save our money? Where are areas where we are doing the same task that we haven't taken the time to develop a standard operation procedure, an SOP, to delegate to someone else, or try to integrate a system to not have us do it and manually evolve over time? Again, this is where certain AI tools, not ChatGPT specifically, can help in these regards, but not just AI. The first thing to think about is understanding utility, which I'll get to a little bit later in the conversation. But I just want you to spotlight and understand with smart marketing protocols what's possible, and to look at the areas of what's necessary to make these adjustments. Now, businesses that adopt modern data-driven marketing strategies are 6 times more likely to be more profitable than their competitors. So it is in your best competitive interest to actually get ahead by understanding what do we need to modify and change this point and adjust accordingly from a marketing ops perspective or an external social media, digital marketing, external perspective. And I have, for those who don't know me, I'm big on mnemonics and acronyms and all of those subset of things. And I find that they help you remember, they're easy to understand, and they're fun. So when you're trying to figure out, how do I incorporate smart marketing protocols, when, where, why, and how? It all starts with having your cup, your capacity, your utility, and your performance. What's the capacity that you as a solopreneur, or you as a team of small or a growing team have? What do your individual contributors have the capacity to contribute to research, to understanding, to learning, to evaluating, putting all this data together? What are the areas that need the most resources or that exert the most time? So you need to assess your full-fledged capacity. Then the utility. And what areas make sense for you to adjust and optimize the most? Where's the best utility case for what you're trying to do? How we're trying to navigate all of this accordingly. Then once we figure out the capacity of what we have, the utility of where we're going to integrate these smart marketing protocols, what's the performance? How do we judge success? How do we measure our checkpoints that we're on the right track? This is critical to have at the beginning, because this allows you to have a very controlled, almost an incubator experience to adjust and modify accordingly at scale without a lot of risk involved. Because if you know your current capacity and how much you can devote to exploring other technologies or areas you can now go back and optimize certain things, and knowing specifically through what utilities, what channels is going to actually give you the most benefit and more sufficiency, and then judging by what does success look like, what does it not look like, when do we know to continue, and when do we know to stop? That gives you a very clear framework to navigate in this digital marketing insurgency, where we don't have clear, defined, I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if that's going to work. This is all new to many people in my organization, in my industry, or in my space. And it can feel a little something like this, or you're just trying to navigate through this tunnel, but we have just enough light to just keep on moving, keep on going as we're trying to get through this. Speaking of which, another acronym to think about, ADD. Once we understand our cup, our capacity, utility, and performance, now it's up to our audience to dictate direction, not us. I don't know about you, but I've had a few clients, I've navigated a few executives who are all in our AI, which is great. That's awesome. It reminds me of other times in the past where it was paid media, .com boom, certain social media platforms. Totally understand, totally warranted. Everyone's excited. They want something new. They want something shiny. They want to make sure they can capitalize on certain things. But full stop, but what matters most, what does the market say? What is the biggest need in your current marketplace? What are your clients saying that they need the most? That if you optimize there, it'd be a value add benefit. They have more relationships. The relationships are stronger. And actually, it will be in your best benefit. How do we add? How do we know what to add? Audience dictates direction. That is the go-to, because everything is justified by the value of the marketplace in conjunction with the clients or the people that you serve, whether it's a product or a service or whatever it is that you offer within the marketplace. The demand is going to tell you where we need your most help. And then it's for you to go backwards and understand through your cup, now evaluating what I know I want to add. What's my capacity to do it? What's the utility of doing it? And how am I going to perform to judge success? And then you go back in the cycle and seeing, is it received? Is there residuals? Is there an ROI for our efforts by adjusting based off what the audience and marketplace is telling us, and how we incorporate our smart marketing protocols? So I want to disprove some myths, obsolete some of the modern day practices. It's time for a change. Remove the virality from marketing goals and expectations. Everyone wants to say, we want to go viral. We want to do certain things. We want to navigate certain things. Let's just remove it from our vocabulary. It adds unnecessary pressure, and it guides us in a way that isn't realistic, because the reason things go viral in most cases is not something you can just manufacture. There's a million variables that have to go right to go viral. So let's not use that from our vocabulary. Let's remove it. Keyword stuffing and unethical SEO. It's no longer a cheat code. I shared earlier in the presentation. The numbers suggest that more and more people are going to use voice activation to get an answer. So it's not about keyword stuffing. It's about providing enough value that the algorithm deems what you're presenting out in the world valuable enough to bring up top of the market, top of the conversation, top of mind. Stop the cap on promotional spammy emails and DMs. There's a difference between an intentional cold email, cold outbound outreach initiatives with the intent of good copy, good framing, good messaging to market versus spamming any email that you got and going through all the LinkedIn DMs with a non-intentional, non-specific message. Things that many marketers say it's common knowledge at this point, and yet and still 47% of businesses are engaging in that activity beyond maybe what they're comfortable with because they're playing the volume game. Now, don't get me wrong, cold outreach is still very effective, but it's understanding, how do I make this cold outreach be more human? How do I make it relationship driven? That takes more time. Now, smart marketing protocols can help modify and adjust the experience to be more personalized while staying rooted to your nucleus of how you're outputting the content. But just pushing emails out there, LinkedIn DMs, Twitter DMs out there, it's not effective. It's not efficient. I'll also add, which I'll get to later, the consideration of chat spot from HubSpot or any other type of AI chatbot tool that could actually help you maximize this without losing your personality and your humanity in the delivery to cold outbound. And the last thing, influencer marketing, not based on follower account. Now, a story that's been very common, humor, if you will, for a good year and a half, if not longer, has been examples of influencers who had the appearance of a big following, but when they push out content to hopefully drive clicks, drive sales, they get zero, nothing. So let's not just think because someone has a big number, that is a strong community of buyers and users who would actually consider what this person is presenting. This requires a little bit more work on your end if you're trying to activate influencer marketing in a more effective and efficient manner. Well, who do you talk to? Who are you talking about? What's your community built on? Understand those things will actually make you more efficient and effective. So again, obsolete modern day practices, remove the virality, stop the keyword stuffing, stop the cap on promotional spammy emails and DMs, and be more efficient at how you judge who you partner with for any influencer marketing initiatives. The multiplication of audience personalization connect one-on-one. SMPs, smart marketing protocols, allow personalized marketing efforts based on data-driven behavior, preferences, and demographic. It's the personalization. It matters. That is number one thing. To make anything work in this new era of digital marketing insurgency, we have to be more personalized. The audiences, the demand is screaming for it. They will not tolerate us being vague. They will not tolerate us being basic. They will not tolerate us not giving more effort, or at least the appearance or their perception that enough effort wasn't given to make sure they got their name right. It makes sense from a targeting demographic perspective, and the message is warm. It feels like this is something that I would engage with. Second thing, automation from social media, email, we just talked about, ad targeting, data analysis, execute at a faster, repeatable rate, wins the number game. Now, there's still a volume game to be played, even when you're integrating more SMPs into your operations, your marketing, your sales overhaul. Nevertheless, though, it's about how we're automating certain things, because certain things still need a human to sign off on. There's only so much AI can determine on its own. We still need to understand checkpoints that, hey, this is going to help us do this, but let me make sure it's doing it properly. We don't want to build it and then forget about it, like a QVC thing. Get it and it's done. No, we want to monitor and make sure the automation actually makes sense within our checkpoints to make sure we're moving in the right direction. Then after we go from automation, after personalization, is the amplification. So if you've built a marketing campaign that couples social media, email marketing, and cold outreach in certain other capacities, and you're doing it as a nurturing thing, it feels very personalized. You got 75% automated, so it actually can trigger different responses and flow. So you feel like an army of 20, even though you're an army of 1 in this particular campaign. Now it's the amplification, it's the boost to expand to a wider group of individuals. Now that could be an A/B testing scenario where, hey, we have this unlocked in the education or healthcare sectors, and now we're trying to expand over here. Maybe it's expanding from a literal local perspective because maybe you're more brick and mortar style and we're expanding into other counties or townships or cities. Or you are expanding and testing out with other audiences, with other ICPs, entertain or be open to what we offer or deliver. And if we have the personalization down really well, and we have the automation at a point where we can really scale this thing, that allows us to have more capacity, see what I did there, to embrace the utility to see through this amplification, can we actually increase our performance beyond maybe what our initial metrics determine? So the personalization plus the automation at scale allows for reaching markets, dynamically increasing conversions by the numbers game, but is doing it in a very personalized, smart manner without exhausting so much energy and resources. Now, that doesn't dispute the fact that you still might have a budget involved, but when you're integrating SMPs at certain interval points to reduce your time and energy, you can now devote time and energy in other sides of your pipeline and other areas of your business infrastructure to make that more efficient as well. If we can give you back 15 hours a week to now take those 15 hours and focus more on business development or focus more on sales ops or beef up your branding, your marketing messaging based off new tests and new optimal things, that's going to pay mega dividends 3 months from now. That's going to save you time and efficiency. And so a lot of the things currently still now when it comes to AI, ML, machine learning, and any other integrations of the sort, it's still cost efficient. It's not as expensive. The market hasn't controlled it and increased the numbers by dramatically. It's actually still affordable and efficient for you to integrate within your current infrastructure after doing some research and analyzation to make sure it makes sense to see where things are going. So again, if we go back, audience dictates direction, capacity, utility, and performance from audience dictating direction, eliminating these modern day practices that are obsolete and should not be considered anymore, and embracing ways to improve our personalization, increase our automation, and expand our amplification is going to be very beneficial to us as we embrace smart marketing protocols. Now, one of the biggest things to think about is streamlining and speeding up your marketing ops. Minimize errors while maximizing outcomes that consistently elevate marketing ops to improve efficiency at a higher rate that's more consistent and profitable. I've been a marketer for a very long time. I've been on teams where marketing is its own silo. I've been on teams where marketing and sales are kind of like cousins. Then I've been in teams where marketing and sales are in the same room, navigating as a united front, 1-2 jab type of situation. But in most cases, marketing in a lot of areas is its own silo. And what you get in certain organizations, depending on your scale and employee count and what you're trying to do and how many hats you may wear, is the scenario of how is marketing generating sales? What are y'all doing to generate sales? How can we validate and justify marketing operations as a contributing arm to our revenue, our sustainability, and overarching success? And I find the easiest way to do that is to start including more SMPs to streamline validators. Where's the lead source coming from? tying that back into marketing efforts and energy that aligns with revenue, protects marketing operations, but also justifies what we're doing. The other thing to think about between the dynamic of marketing ops and sales ops is, in many cases, marketing obviously brings the attention, but also marketing brings retention. Sales is to capture and nurture, but marketing is to bring that retention factor as well. If we get that retention factor, then that means the sales ops team can now go back and upsell, maybe expand on services delivered or volume of products sold or more referrals being driven. But we have to understand the relationship of where marketing ops is now and how smart marketing protocols can help expand what marketing can do. And if you tie that in, now marketing ops is not so much different than sales ops. It's just really what side of the fence you're on and how we're working in a jointed way to do these things more efficiently. And so if we can reduce our own expense, eliminate errors, we get more personalized with our communication, that when it passes up to the sales team, it's not just a warm lead, it's a warm lead that's been nurtured and optimized for conversion. Just by understanding how do we incorporate SMPs at this level to streamline speed and everything else. Because there's more things in the pipeline for the sales team to navigate from marketing's contributing factors, the better the optics are, the better the numbers are, the better everyone wins and everyone's happy. Now, if you're a person that's wearing both the marketing hat and the sales hat, well, this just makes your life a lot easier because you're being more efficient on the marketing side, which gives you more time and space to navigate the very intimate relationships of trying to build in sales and close more deals and more business. Now, shifting from that particular lane to the agility of marketing, the adaptability to thrive and survive, is understanding that with SMPs, if you can know and have things running in the background, doing A/B testing and seeing how are things working, how are things not working, where are we at, how are we moving and navigating. If we can do that at scale without us having to physically look at every single line item, every single notification, and it can adjust and give us a synopsis or an estimate, that's good enough for us to make modifications without exerting all that additional time, energy, and resources. That allows us also to be more nimble and flexible with the market. Our hypothesis could be at the beginning of the year that you may have 40% of your revenue coming from this particular product or service based off last year's numbers. And maybe now that we're entering in September, we're about to go into October, the numbers suggest this is not the case. What are we going to do? Now, if you were following that, I like to use this example, and I'll come back to that in a minute. Most people use a GPS. Not that many people use an actual map. Now, when you literally, no pun intended, map out what you're doing for your business at the beginning of the year, and you're making your projections and everything else based off your models and growth, all those fun things, it's singular. That is set in stone. With a GPS, we hit traffic, weather delay. Your estimated time of arrival is this. If you want to go this route, it's much faster, more efficient. Now, it's not saying for those who, like myself, I think I'm the last generation to remember how maps even work. Navigating a map is not still essential. It's a good way to map out your plan. But when you confront certain obstacles and challenges, how flexible are you? How nimble are you to pivot your organization, pivot your marketing or sales tactics, your business operations or growth ops tactics to navigate what demand is telling you is no longer in need, is no longer in demand, not at that price, not at that evaluation, and you can pivot and you can shift accordingly. How can you do that? But incorporating SMPs allows you to be more agile, which is a life or death situation, a great benefit for many businesses, especially even on the smaller end. The more agile you are when change or resistance or friction comes into play, the more efficient you are to coming out of that unscathed, if not even better, because you've identified new opportunities to pivot accordingly with your time and energy. So again, the nimbleness and flexibility and how you market as needs and technology and platform change will keep you ahead of your competitors, keep you stable, keep you sustainable and optimal for success. To add to that, 350% agile marketing teams more likely to achieve higher ROI. So it's in your best benefit, again, to be as agile as possible. And that means when you're evaluating your cup, 20% of your capacity should be exploring new opportunities, understanding and deciphering what is the market telling you, and is the value of what you bring to market, of what you provide as a product or a service or an offering, is at par. Is it below or is it higher? And being agile in how you position your market is going to make you way more efficient. Responding quicker to emerging trends, platform updates, and changes in consumer behavior, as well as culture. We don't want to forget culture, society, force innovation. That's really the critical thing. When you look at a lot of businesses, the ones that make it are the ones that what? Innovate. The ones that take the deep introspection, make some plans, implement, integrate, and go forth with this new direction while holding on to things that were working and releasing things that don't. We are not in the business of being marketing, sales, business operating hoarders. It does us no good. It does us no benefit whatsoever to maintain certain things if it's not working. So how do we adjust and evaluate that at scale? It's being agile and using SMPs to identify certain indicators in the market. That could be something as simple as setting up a Google alert to certain things and seeing, hey, so many things are happening over here in this industry. I need to pay attention to that. I need to look at that, because we can get so siloed with our own numbers that we're not seeing what is the market at scale telling us. So whether it's SMPs to improve your efficiency internally or integrating SMPs to understand and predict what's happening externally, it's all to your benefit to make you more agile. Now, going from AI to machine learning models can predict customer churn and calculate lifetime value. This predictive power allows marketers to be proactive and less reactive to consumer needs and trends. Just what I talked about in the last few minutes is understanding, hey, I want to be proactive with my business. I don't want to be reactive to the market. And that comes from understanding what is the market screaming that you need to do, that you need to adjust. The thought process of this is the only way that we know how to do it is obsolete. It shouldn't be the case. Now, I understand there's a learning curve. There's an understanding where you need to modify and adjust how you're navigating. You have to earn the trust of the team. You have to navigate and process. This is what we're chosen to do. But even taking the action to consider modifications and changes and looking at even a timeline of we're going to make these small integrate changes and hopefully leading up to this bigger reveal, this bigger change, is better than doing nothing and hoping the market is going to come back to what you like, what you feel, what worked for you in the times past in marketing that brought you 314% increase in growth year on year out may only work 20% of the time now. And that's a reality check that we have to understand. Again, as we're navigating digital marketing insurgency, this change, this resistance, we need to get on board. We need to adapt. We need to adjust accordingly. And machine learning can help us do that. Now, metrics to measure marketing. I don't want to hurt anyone in marketing's feelings in here, but simply put, less clicks, impressions, and CTR. User engagement. Even if it doesn't lead to conversions, these are metrics we really should know. How are people engaging with our content? How are they engaged with our emails? What's the reviews on what we're doing? Do we have a good POV lens from their perspective, not our own, which may be biased, let's be real, that may be a little biased. What is their engagement with how they're interacting with our product, our service, our marketing, all of it? Do we have it somewhere for us to debrief and review weekly, bi-weekly, or at least monthly to make adjustments in our messaging, our positioning, and our marketing accordingly? Second thing, customer and non-customer behavior. Both tell a story. If you're so obsessed over customers, their positive feedback, and we're ignoring or muting non-customer, those who didn't become a customer, and acknowledging why they didn't, that's money left on the table. That's opportunity left on the table. Let's not just focus on those who are currently customers. Let's understand the percentage of people who said no to our offer, our product, or didn't see or understand the value. From there, we can probably reverse engineer the why and integrate that better in our messaging. Was it a messaging flaw? Was it a product flaw that needs to be optimized and efficient on different things? What is the why behind it? Both tell a story. Both stories you need to adjust accordingly. And in many cases, you can apply SMPs to do both of these things to help you gather the intel at scale to paint a really clear, wide view story to give you better direction on how to move forward. Now, sentiment analysis. This is something that a lot of people still may not do or may not understand. And it's just understanding whether it's positive, negative, or neutral data. How do people feel about your brand? How do they feel about what you offer? And that goes in the customer behavior, but it's a little bit more on the intent side of things. Is the need not there? Is the price point, was it too high? Was it too low? What's the positive side? What's the negative side? Where are we at? Even if it's neutral, these key data points matter in the mapping of marketing campaigns in the future. The more data that makes sense to apply in these categories, the better. And lastly, revenue attribution directly from marketing, because marketing can drive sales and revenue, just how sales help. I like to think that marketing is the left arm and sales is the right arm of a really pro boxer trying to win a match. You need both. You need both. Both are responsible to help drive revenue, but more importantly, in this case for marketers who historically speaking sometimes struggle with proving value and energy when it comes to all the different subsets of marketing out there to navigate, is revenue attribution. From tracking the permalink to the conversation to the communication, all of those things. How do we navigate that accordingly? And then even going even further, again, keeping SMPs activated at the top of mind, reducing churn by even 5% can increase profit between 25% to 95%. This is where, honestly, this is the golden opportunity with any really good marketing initiative and impact. Yeah, sales is going to keep bringing people in the pipeline. But if we can just retain a little bit more of clients who may have it and historically left churn and keep them on while bringing in more, over time, that's a high residual effect. Increased ROI is tied directly to retention of existing business as it is acquiring new business. Marketing focused on relationships can directly impact by identifying at-risk customers and nurture them to hopefully expand their lifetime value. How great is it on our current customer wall? And you're looking at, you go into your progressions of how many emails, how many clients you have to reach out or customers every so often. We have a separate model to predict red alert, Joe Schmo from so-and-so, he might be trying out another product. He might be looking at another service. He might not vibe as well as we might like. And he's an annual customer. Well, we need to make sure that Joe stays in line, that he still sees our value, that we're still meeting his needs. It's a subset of existing customers. We're not just in the business of bringing in new people in the pipeline. That is clearly part of it, but it's also retaining existing customers and clients within our already established pipeline, which can actually lead to even more business. The quickest way to business is actually people who already are familiar with your brand, with your offer. They have the relationship, they have the rapport, and it can create a lot of different opportunities. And so to understand how to navigate that, definitely focus more on reducing churn within your existing platform infrastructure. And honestly, that might be a really good way to start slowly integrating SMPs. If you're not comfortable doing it at the external scale just yet, maybe start off with a smaller campaign internally and see what happens. Smart humans embracing smart marketing protocols and AI is the present and the future of marketing. All that I've said the last few slides It's a lot of ideas, a lot of thought process. And if there are any chats or questions, I can't see anything right now, feel free to notify me and I will be more than happy to answer that. And excuse me if I've missed any. I'm not seeing on my screen right now. But smart humans embracing smart marketing protocols and AI is the present and the future of marketing. We don't want to be overworked. We don't want to be all over the place. We don't want to have all these things in place. You want to make sure that you can navigate accordingly. And that's the way to really move things forward. And we don't want to see all these different opportunities and technology as a challenge. It's an opportunity to actually make us more efficient with the team that we have, with the budget that we have, in the hopes of acquiring more opportunities and drive more revenue. So let's talk about some opportunities where this might be efficient. So chatbots evolution, customer service reinvented. So I don't know about anyone else, but it is very time consuming to, when you get messages on social media or email marketing, in many cases, I got to answer the same question over and over and over again. And sometimes, you might answer it really great one day. Another day, I just don't got it. But if we can optimize that, then when certain words are triggered in an email or a DM, where it's identified as a qualifier of an automated answer that's refined, that's approachable, that's at its best self every single time, that can also send it right away. Now you're approachable. Now you're personable. The automation makes a lot more sense now. And it actually creates this opportunity for that person, their existing customer, to feel valued. But if they're a new customer or potential customer, wow, they responded right away. And I think sometimes we think we're running chat spot integrations of any type that people are going to know, kind of like that. They're going to know. If it's written in the right way and organized in the right way, it's actually be very efficient and beneficial to you every single time. The numbers, again, not my numbers, these are the numbers. Chatbots can save $8 billion annually by improving customer response time and customer engagement up to 20% according to Salesforce survey. 20% increase customer engagement. Again, when we go back to the numbers on churn, that's a big difference. There's your additional value right there. By integrating a chatbot tool, modifying it, integrating and monitoring it, sure. Is there rev up time to integrate that and implement that? Yes. But the benefit of that investment over time increases your customer service, outreach and communication team, and it saves your mental energy to deal with the real problems. Once again, let the AI, let the smart marketing protocols, let the robots work for you and not you working like a robot. Let's make sure we integrate technology and tools that we may have a learning curve, that we may have resistance in play, to help us increase our bottom line and scale and grow. Here's just one example. Now, another example, which I've talked about earlier in this presentation, is just staying alert, monitoring trends. 80% of consumers will more than likely do business with brands that offer more personalized experiences. I hope you see the pattern throughout this whole presentation. Increasing our personalization, boosting our automation, and expanding our amplification through smart marketing protocols by understanding our capacity, understanding the utility to measure our performance. Audience dictates direction, and we're doing it in a way that makes us more efficient, more effective, and we're also doing it in a way that makes sense based off what the audience is demanding us to do, that creates this expanded team just by integrating these resources in a way that we can navigate accordingly, whether internally to reduce churn for more money, or externally to boost up more clientele, get more people, get more conversations for more money. And it's a numbers game either way. And a big part of that is keeping tabs on trends so we can make conscious decisions. I like to think, if anyone's a DC fan in here, the rumor is always like, with enough prep time, Batman always wins. And I like to think with you all, with enough prep time, you can always win. you can always adjust accordingly to get the win. A big part of that is to monitor what is going on in the marketplace, what is going on in the industry, what's going on with our competitors, what are our customers not saying, what are we not listening to, what are we missing? There's always something we're missing. But if we can identify that and make just some slight tweaks, you never know how much financially that may gain and that may understand for what you're trying to do. And I think I see a question here. Let me drag this over. Does programmatic advertising play a significant role in sentiment analysis and observing our consumers' online behavior? Yes, it does. And I love this question. I think I have a slide in here on that. I'll check in a minute. But I will say, for starters, it does. I think the thing you need to understand when you're doing it is to make sure how you're modifying and adjusting the pragmatic advertising. So sometimes based off the measure of, are you doing it based off your current profile? Are you giving it space to modify and adjust accordingly based off those terms that you're using? And are those terms too restrictive? And I can talk more about that later in the Q&A if that's helpful as well. But also to cross-reference between behavior, because sometimes the behavior of the intent, I always split it, behavior and intent are two different things. And sometimes people include that together. Their behavior may suggest one thing, but their intent is another. In many cases, we're pushing for the pragmatic advertising through behavior, and we're not considering the intent of the user as well in our analysis where we're putting our parameters together. So hopefully that throws seed out there, but I've been more than happy to expand on that conversation later on. Thank you for sending that question. Email marketing, AI optimized success. For starters, every year, I need to get this out of my own chest here. I don't know about anyone else, but for me as a marketer, I get tired of every year, is email marketing dead? Is email marketing dead? Email is alive forevermore for the non-foreseeable future, indefinitely, period. Because where do your invoices go? Email. They sign the contract, still makes email relevant. When you pay for the product, they get the confirmation through email. This whole thing that email marketing is non-relevant is ridiculous. Email marketing is always relevant. At any point in time, any platform can just poof, like a Thanos snap, be gone, bye-bye. But if I have your email, hey, we're not here no more, we're over there. I want you to join this new community that we have. And as X, formerly known as Twitter, has doing this thing, and everyone has this like 10 different Twitter alternatives out there right now, and all the things that's happening, email is the more formal connected thing that I can reach you directly. It's not gated by any other platform. So I just want to make that clear now. Email marketing still is relevant as ever. Now, to dive in deeper into that, reading AI personalization can lead to 50% increase in open rates. Again, we talked about this way at the beginning of the presentation, and I just want to echo it again now in this moment. Where you're doing this personalization, it is very time consuming, but it's been proven time and time again. The more you can personalize your sub list of your sub list of your sub list, the better are the odds of not just open rates, not just click-through rates, but conversions and conversations, whether they buy the product, whether they inquire, contact form about the service, or they buy the service outright and they're ready to go. And they're in the system now and you're moving, you're going. But it is very, very time consuming, especially if you're pursuing other markets, other areas, or you're juggling not enough time, not enough money, or not enough people. Nevertheless, using a smart market protocols to help personalize, not replace your effort and energy, but help you be more personalized and adjust and adaptable, be more agile in how you're outputting email marketing, makes it better for you, which also allows for a higher increase in conversions by 25%. Now, judge the numbers with a grain of salt. Obviously, it's subjective by person. And ironically enough, I think, Jody, you were looking at my slides because as promised, pragmatic advertising, precision targeting, 34%. AI optimization can increase conversions by 34% in ad placement according to Google study. And this is a very recent Google study that happened this year. So if you are a small business, a growing business, or anyone that may be navigating certain things and you're trying to really push and really, drive up your paid media initiatives, integrating AI at the beginning before you launch the platform and the campaigns to assess between behavior, consumer behavior, customer analysis, intent, sentimentalism, also what the market is saying. Is there any modifications or variables and location if that's relevant to you? Is there any understanding based off identities and personalities and profiles? Sometimes we can be too micro or we're too macro, and AI can help discern the difference, or based off the data, give you insights to make those adjustments accordingly. It's a lot. Thank goodness smart marketing protocols are here to help you navigate some of those things. Let's see another question. What AI tools do you currently use or recommend? I don't want to answer the question with the question, but I always think at this point, it's kind of like back in the day, there's an app for everything. Think of it, what do you need AI to do for you? And then from there, micro into what AI tools are you using. But if I were to expand just a little bit on certain things, obviously now a lot of the platforms and tools that we're using now, whether it's just inflated buzzword or it's actual reality that actually makes sense, are integrating sub AI integrations into their platform. I know Google is doing that right now with Gmail. If you're a Grammarly person, they're integrating AI in there as well. Obviously, ChatGPT is the big name of it, but there's so many sub integrations that's pulling from ChatGPT and working on top of it to make sense. I actually have used HubSpot's ChatSpot, which is an AI tool to help with blog creation, or even more so to help with communication with internal or external consumers and customers as well. And obviously the list goes on and on and on and on. My intent is to expand on the utility, so that way when you're looking at all these different AI tools and sub tools in the marketplace, it's not overwhelming. It's more so, I know I need the certain tools to figure out what I'm trying to do from a capacity, utility, and performance, and how do we navigate that accordingly. But to finish this off strong, when you're thinking about, I see another question here. Your thoughts on geo-targeting using zip codes for brand awareness to a new area. Ooh, I love this question. I have navigated, full disclosure, I ran, this is my five agencies. One agency in particular, we did a massive amount of paid marketing initiatives and performance initiatives. And in many cases, we found the zip code sometimes really didn't lead to anything that was promising long term. That is subjective. I found I used to work, do paid media campaigns and a political work for a little while for nonprofits to drive money for donations. Zip code was actually very valuable there in that instance. But in a lot of instances, if you are not B2C, you're more B2B, the zip code sometimes isn't always correct because it's not accounting for people who have moved. And also I found that the zip code actually restricted certain geolocation targeting because the advertisement we're trying to push made it very micro. Whereas when we removed the zip code out and just put a place in a specific city or county, it allowed more a wide variety of data or consumers to be reached to pass through. Hopefully that makes sense. But again, I have no problem talking a little bit more about that after this, or send me an email. We could talk more later. Wrapping it up and bringing it on home, no matter what, I find as AI continues to advance and become more prevalent in our daily lives, a good friend of mine, Christian Garnett, wrote this tweet: it's important to remember the value of human connection. While AI can certainly offer convenience and efficiency, it cannot replace the emotional depth and complexity of human interaction. As we rely more on AI for tasks such as customer service or even personal assistance, it's critical to maintain a balance and ensure that we don't lose sight of the importance of face-to-face communication and empathy. And I 1,000,000% co-sign that we need to make sure that we don't lose our humanity. I say that literally and figuratively speaking, in how we integrate SMPs and how do we incorporate AI and ML and other subset of tools meant to help us do less to do more. Make sure you have a human at the right checkpoints. Full stop. That's the only way you can build this at scale to make yourself more efficient. So finishing us up, I got one more slide left. all these things out there, AI, algorithm changes, new technology, machine learning, next generation stuff, data analytics, automation, and the list goes on and on and on and on. We done talked about a lot. You're going to be sharing this recording. It's still going to be a lot. And then you look at the other circle. Here's what we've comprehended. And then the smaller circle, here's what we remember. And lastly, from this point, here's what we will apply to marketing and our business and everything else in between. It's a lot. And it's okay to have to go back to your own research, navigate accordingly. What I want you to take away from this presentation in this moment is to understand the utility of what's possible. So you're not so resistant to change, but even in small doses, the embracement of, hey, we got to build an SMP for this. Like, it's kind of like you have an SOP, now we build an SMP, let's do this, let's go. And we navigate it accordingly. I'm not one when we present, they just say, here, you learn everything you need to do and let's go. No, I'm acknowledging that this is a lot, even for me. There's so much for me to integrate and explore and improve on my SOPs as well as my SMPs with how I market, with how I sell, with how I literally operate as a business. But give yourself some grace to navigate these things. And last thing I'd say, the digital marketing insurgency isn't stopping its trajectory. It ain't going nowhere. So what are you going to do? How will you move forward? Again, if we think about the smaller circle that we just have now, even with that, if you apply it and move it toward a goal, you will actually be able to be successful. Don't be afraid of AI. Embrace smart marketing protocols. Understand your capacity, utility, and performance. Audience dictates direction, and make sure you navigate and give yourself grace to do this accordingly. So thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate it to the highest. And thank you, Grow Nebraska, as well.
Thank you for presenting today. That was amazing. I took a lot of great takeaways, and I hope everyone that was watching or is going to watch took some great takeaways as well. So I'll go ahead and put my screen up. So I will have Troy's contact information in the recording send out. So if there's any further questions, do not hesitate to email him. He is happy to assist you. And if you have any questions for me, you can email me at zoe@grownebraska.org, or as always, give our store a call, and any of our team members here would be happy to help you. We have some awesome upcoming trainings. So the next one will be next Thursday on September 28th. And that is with Martin, and he's going to cover the Square ecosystem. So if you're familiar with Square or utilize Square for your business, I highly recommend that you register. Then we will hop over into October, and that will be October 4th with, of course, Maria, and she will cover Get Your Local Business on Google Search and Maps. So she will show you how to create a Google My Business page from start to finish. So we highly, highly recommend that you tune into that one. And then we're throwing a little extra webinar into October. So we'll actually have like 4 webinars in October. So this one's back to back on October 5th. And that's with Martin again, and he'll do Square's versatile point of sale system. So all the ways that you can collect payment, because just like Chat GPT, that was a tongue twister, and AI and all that stuff, also payment wise is changing a lot. So, you have the tap to pay, QR codes. So he's going to cover a lot of that. And then you can scan this QR code to go to our upcoming training page to register for those, or you can visit grownebraska.org and click the upcoming training tab, and there you'll see all of them, and we're all the way into February, I think, so be sure to register for those and you'll get reminders. And then feel free to leave the Grow Nebraska Foundation a Google review. As always, we truly appreciate hearing your guys' kind words and how we're doing. So feel free to scan this QR code or Google search Grow Nebraska Foundation, and you can leave a review there. And then save the date for Market Tech Conference 2024. It will be on February 29th, and Troy is actually our keynote speaker. So we were so happy to have give you guys a little glimpse of him before Market Tech arrives. So you will see him live and in stereo at Market Tech. We have not announced any other speakers quite yet, besides Troy and Maria, of course. So be on the lookout for that, and be sure to visit markettechconference.com for any future updates and more information. So thanks again, Troy, and thank you to everyone for tuning in, and I hope you all have a great rest of your week.
Thank y'all. Bye.
Bye.